You already know what you should be doing. You know you should be waking up earlier. You know you should be moving your body. You know you should be reading instead of scrolling. That's not the problem. You've known all of that for years. The problem is that knowing what to do and actually doing it every single day without needing motivation are two completely different skills, and nobody ever taught you the second one. Today, we're building that skill from scratch. This is episode 3 of Build Yourself. If you've watched episode 2, you already picked your one starting point. Today, we turn that single action into something that survives longer than the first exciting week, a real routine. Let's be honest about something first. Almost every routine you've ever tried to build has died the same predictable death. Big, exciting start, full of energy. Maybe you even told people about it. And then, somewhere between day 7 and day 14, it just quietly stopped. No dramatic failure, just silence. Here's why that happens, and it's not what you think. Most people build routines around motivation. They wait to feel inspired, then they act. That works for exactly as long as the feeling lasts, which, biologically, is never very long. Motivation is a spike, not a foundation. You cannot build a house on a spike. The people who actually stick with routines for months and years didn't figure out how to feel motivated constantly. They figured out how to not need to. That's the entire skill we're building today. Every routine that actually survives contact with real life is built on 4 parts. Miss any one of them, and it collapses, usually around the 2-week mark, which is exactly when you've seen it happen to you before. Part 1, the trigger. Every routine needs to be anchored to something that already happens automatically in your day, not to whenever I feel like it. Brushing your teeth, making coffee, getting into bed. These are triggers your brain doesn't need willpower for because they're already automatic. Attach your new action directly to one of these and you borrow its automation. Part 2, the size. This is where almost everyone breaks the routine before it even starts. They design the version of the habit they want in 6 months and try to do that version on day 1. Reading 50 pages a day, working out for 90 minutes, meditating for 30. That's not a routine, that's a peak performance you're demanding from yourself before you've built the base. Part 3, friction. This is the invisible variable almost nobody talks about. It's not about your willpower, it's about how many steps stand between you and the action. If your workout clothes are in a drawer at the bottom of your closet, that's friction. If your book is in another room, that's friction. Every single extra step is a chance for your brain to talk you out of it. Part 4, proof. You need a way to see that you did it, not to feel good, to build evidence. We'll get deeper into this one in a few minutes because it's the difference between a routine that lasts 2 weeks and one that lasts 2 years. Let me show you what this looks like when it goes wrong, and then what it looks like when it actually works. Someone decides they're finally going to start reading. They buy 3 books. They set a goal, 1 hour of reading every night before bed. Night 1. It works. They're excited. They read for an hour and feel proud. Night 2. They're tired. They scroll their phone for 5 minutes first and never open the book. Night 3, they feel guilty about night 2, which makes starting even harder. By night 7, the books are back on the shelf, unopened, and there's a quiet, familiar feeling of having failed at something again. Now here's the same person, same goal, but built with the 4-part structure. Trigger, right after brushing their teeth at night, something that already happens every single night without fail. Size, not 1 hour, 2 pages, just 2. Friction. The book stays on the pillow, not on a shelf, so it's physically impossible to get into bed without seeing it. Proof. A single line drawn on a calendar taped inside the closet door, visible every morning. 2 pages a night sounds almost embarrassingly small, but by week 3, something happens that never happened with the 1-hour version. They're still doing it. And by week 4, 2 pages has quietly, naturally become 15. Not because they forced it, but because the identity of "I'm someone who reads before bed" had already been proven true, night after night, in a way their brain couldn't argue with. Here's a rule that sounds almost too simple to work, and that's exactly why most people dismiss it before ever trying it. Whatever routine you're building, shrink the daily version down until it takes 2 minutes or less. Want to build a workout habit? The starting version isn't workout for 45 minutes. It's put on your workout clothes. That's it. Just the clothes. Want to build a writing habit? The starting version isn't work 1,000 words. It's open the document and write 1 sentence. I know what you're thinking. That's not enough to actually change anything. And you're right, technically, in terms of raw output. But that's not what this phase is for. This phase isn't about results. It's about proving the identity first and letting the results follow naturally once the identity is real. Here's what actually happens in practice. Once you've put on the workout clothes, you're already 80% of the way to doing at least some of the workout. Once you've opened the document and written 1 sentence, momentum usually carries you further. But even on the days it doesn't, even on the days you truly only do the 2-minute version, you haven't broken the chain. And the chain, not any single day's output, is what actually builds a routine that lasts. Let's go back to that 4th part, proof, because this is the piece that separates people who quit in month 1 from people who are still going a year later. Your brain does not register invisible progress. If you're building a routine and there's no visible record of it, some part of you will start doubting whether it's even working, even if it objectively is. This is why so many people quit right before results would have started showing. They had no proof to hold on to during the invisible early stage, so doubt won the argument. The fix is almost stupidly simple. Track it somewhere you can actually see. A calendar on the wall, a note on your phone, a single tally mark in a notebook. It doesn't matter how you track it. What matters is that every single day you get a small, visible piece of evidence that says, I showed up. There's a specific psychological effect at play here. Once you've built a visible streak, breaking it starts to feel like a genuine loss, not just a missed task. That shift from, I should do this, to, I don't want to lose this, is the exact moment a routine stops requiring willpower and starts running almost on its own. I need to tell you something that most productivity content conveniently skips. You are going to miss a day. Not might, will. Life happens. You get sick, you travel, something urgent eats your evening. This is not a hypothetical, it's a guarantee. What actually determines whether your routine survives isn't whether you miss a day, it's what you do the day after. There's a simple rule worth remembering here. Never miss twice in a row. Missing once is life. Missing twice is the beginning of a new pattern. And patterns, once they start forming, become the new default faster than you'd expect. 1 missed day is a data point. 2 missed days in a row is a decision, even if it doesn't feel like one yet. So if you miss a day, and you will, the goal isn't to punish yourself or make up for it with some exaggerated effort the next day. The goal is simply to show up again, at whatever size necessary, even if it's the smallest 2-minute version. Showing back up is the entire skill. It matters far more than any single day of perfect performance ever could. Let's turn everything from today into something you can build right now, using the one starting point you chose in episode 2. Step 1. Attach it to an existing trigger, something you already do automatically, every single day, without fail. Step 2. Shrink it down to 2 minutes or less. Not the version you want eventually, the smallest version that still counts as showing up. Step 3. Remove friction. Put whatever you need somewhere you can't avoid seeing it. Step 4. Make it visible. A calendar, a note, a tally mark. Something your eyes can confirm every day. Step 5. If you miss a day, show up the next day regardless of size. Never let it become 2 in a row. That's the entire system. Not complicated, not exciting. But it's the difference between a routine that dies in 2 weeks and one that quietly becomes part of who you are. Here's the real shift happening in this episode, underneath all the mechanics. You're not trying to become a disciplined person overnight. You're just trying to not break the chain tomorrow. That's it. That's the entire job, 1 day at a time. This is episode 3 of Build Yourself, and here's something worth sitting with before the next episode. The exact reason routines collapse even after you've built them well, and why motivation, the thing everyone chases, was never actually the tool you needed in the first place. That's episode 4, Why Motivation Always Dies. If today gave you something you can actually use starting tonight, subscribe. This series is built step by step, exactly like the routine we just talked about. Small, consistent, and built to last. I'll see you in the next one. You are not alone. Let's get there together.